guys, Sam here, and hey, it's finally here, the most wonderful time of the year, it's Christmas! So, Merry Christmas to all of you, and Happy Holidays as well, to anybody that doesn't celebrate Christmas. Now, what better way to celebrate this time of year than by looking at an animated Christmas special? But which one? Yes, that's right, the Christmas tree. The one that so many people have claimed as the worst holiday special ever. Now, while I have enjoyed watching a lot of people's videos on this special, I always seem to have these questions lingering in the back of my head. Is it really that bad? Is it really the worst of the worst? Is everything in this special terrible? And how can a special that's under 45 minutes be this bad? So since these questions weren't going away, I decided to watch it for myself, and surprisingly, finding it wasn't that difficult. I mean, here it is, in all its glory, I guess. All I had to do was type in the Christmas tree on YouTube, and boom, there you go. It was uploaded back in 2013 by Waffle Iron Archives, who says, and I quote, "An odd Christmas special I originally uploaded on a very alternate YouTube account I have forgotten about. Well, here it is in its full glory. The odd special I watched and liked as a kid. Now, I don't know what the hell I was thinking." Well, that's pretty foreboding. So, now that I've seen the entire special from beginning to end, is it really the worst of the worst? Well, first I'll say, it is hilarious. I mean, it is so laughably bad. So, let's go ahead and have a look. Now, if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, here's how I'll do this review. I'll give you a quick summary of the entire story, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts. So no, this will not be a scene-by-scene recap of the entire thing. There's already been a couple people that have done that. Nostalgia critic. I'll just give the story to you straight. So, you guys ready? Alright, here we go. So it's about these 5 kids who live in a crappy orphanage under the rules of their caretaker, Mrs. Mavilda. They aren't given a lot of freedom, are forced to do lots of chores, forced to make her look good in front of the mayor so she'll get more money, which she later gambles away during poker games with her friends. It's so bad that their only friends are a dog named Licorice and a tree named Mrs. Hopewell. Yes, Hopewell, because the kids believe that the tree was magical. Don't believe me? Well, the narrator says it.
The pine tree they named Mrs. Hopewell. Yes, Hopewell, because the kids believed that the tree was magical.
Just run with it. Anyway, things change when a new family comes into town. The husband gets a job at the lumber mill, but the catch is that he'll have to live in a boarding house without his family. So his wife, named Judy, and the kids, Lily and Pappy, are forced to live at the crappy orphanage while Judy works as Mrs. Mavilda's assistant. And while Mrs. Mavilda doesn't like them at all, they warm up to the orphans pretty quick. They have fun together, talk about Christmas, and even start thinking about what they could get for Christmas this year, especially after the mayor gave them more money. But big surprise, Mrs. Mavilda bets that money on another poker game and ends up losing it all. So she forces Judy to keep the kids inside so the mayor doesn't find out, which Judy catches on to pretty quick. Fearing that Judy has too much trust from the kids, Mrs. Mavilda plans to set up Judy so that she'll get fired. One of the kids finds out about this and tells the others. So with Judy's job on the line, the kids decide that the only way to stop this is by getting help. From whom? Santa! Why? Because poppycock, I don't know. So Pappy, Lily, and Licorice head to the North Pole to find Santa, but their journey gets cut short after they come across an angry bear. Licorice manages to fight it off, but Lily falls off a cliff to her supposed death in the process. Back in town, Mrs. Mavilda hires someone to cut down Mrs. Hopewell to teach the kids and Judy a lesson, so they all stand in front of it in defiance. But thankfully, the mayor just happened to stop by, and he finally learns about Mrs. Mavilda's wrongdoings and the children's pain. So Mrs. Mavilda decides to cut down the tree herself, but then, BAM! She gets struck by fucking lightning! Who made that happen? Well, it was Santa, of course! A bit excessive, don't you think, big guy? Also, what, is he like a brother of Thor for some reason? Okay, never mind. But that's not all. He returns Lily to her family, gives the children new clothes, and air bombs all his gifts to everyone in town. Judy and her husband Ray decide that they'll look after the orphanage. Mrs. Mavilda changes her evil ways right on the spot, becomes an assistant to Judy at the orphanage, and the special ends with the message, "You always win when you are good." The end.
What the hell is that?
So, first off, I'm not gonna go on and on about every single thing that's wrong with this special, because trust me, we would be here all night. The terrible animation, very obvious and predictable story, glaring plot holes, and the kids being more creepy than cute. Yay! Okay, please don't show me another. I said please do not show me a. Oh, God, why were they designed that way? Oh. No, I'm not gonna look up until it's gone. No. Is it gone? Whoever is editing this video, you are Satan incarnate. So yeah, those other aspects, I'm not gonna go on and on about those. But I do want to talk about three main aspects that not only stuck out to me, but I do really think are the worst things about this special. Now, let's talk about the first one, and that is the editing. Oh boy. Okay, I consider editing one of the most important things to get right, especially as someone who makes YouTube videos as a hobby. When you edit something, you want that video you're editing to flow naturally, you know, flow like water down the river, you know, nothing really stopping it, no bumps in the road, you know, very nice. But the editing in this special is like if that water constantly hit the beaver dam over and over, still trying to get over it, but it still won't do it. So yeah, the editing really sucks in this special. There's sometimes moments where characters' lines get cut off by another character's lines.
Come, children, follow me. Another thing, the other children have to sleep, you know.
Don't worry about a thing, ma'am. I will do everything you say.
It can be pretty disjointed at some moments, especially at the beginning. And there's also a few times where the characters' voices can be a little too loud. Like this scene where Mrs. Mavilda is firing Judy right on the spot.
Pack your things right now! You're fired! I don't want to see your face another minute! Get out!
And some of the mistakes are really, really obvious. But what also makes the editing really, really bad is that there are some moments in this special which could have been cut entirely, but instead they're not. Because this special likes to over-explain what's going on in it a lot. And when I say a lot, I do really mean a lot. Like, they really talk to you and explain things to you like you're a kindergartner. Like, you don't know any better. But yet, they're still gonna do it anyway. They'll just explain every little detail until it is hammered right into your skull. So, do you want an example of what I'm talking about? Okay, here's one. There's a scene where Mrs. Mavilda calls up her friend to set up Judy into being a thief, and one of the orphans eavesdrops on the conversation. She then hides from Mrs. Mavilda when the call ends. Now, if you know just a little bit about editing and a flowing narrative, you would assume that the next scene would be the girl telling her friends about what just happened, right? Right? Well, I guess the people working on the movie didn't, because when the little girl hides from Mrs. Mavilda, we then see Mavilda telling Judy to go somewhere. The little girl tries to tell Judy about what's going on, can't do it because Mavilda is standing right there. Judy leaves, Mavilda gets suspicious, the girl lies about not spying on the conversation, Mavilda lets her go, for some reason, and then the girl tells her friends about what just happened. So, in that time span, that was about a minute of film wasted. 1 minute of the special that was completely unnecessary. If they had just had the little tyke hide from Mavilda, show Mavilda giving her orders to Judy without dialogue, and then had the kid go to her friends, that would have been much better. But no, they drag it on for no reason at all. So bottom line, the editing is horrendous and very, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, cringe-inducing. I normally don't use that word because I think it's stupid to use it again and again, but here, I'll make an exception. It's really bad. But it's not as bad as the second aspect I'm going to talk about now, and that is the voice acting. Oh, Jesus Christ. Not only does it hurt, but it is really, really laughably bad. I mean, if you have never seen this special at all, well, if you're planning to, good luck trying to take these characters seriously, because the people working on these characters either sounds like they don't know what they're doing, or they just don't give a shit. In fact, it's so bad that, just for fun, let's play a little game. It's called 10 Words or Less. Here, I will give you my opinion on each and every one of the characters' voices in just 10 words or less. So, ready to play? Alright, let's play. Mrs. Mavilda, the only one having fun in this movie. Boy in green cap, the best kid, but that's not saying much. Girl in glasses and pigtails, second best kid, but again, that's not saying much. Mayor, weird, but not the worst. Judy, invested in some moments, careless in others. Pappy, okay sometimes, but mostly terrible. Girl in green dress, bland, very bland. Boy with distorted voice. Why? Slow talking boy, it sounds like he's learning to enunciate. Ray, are you even alive? And finally, Lily. Is she drunk?
Not when you go through the window.
Okay, it kind of sounds like she was singing that line. I mean, here's how you should say it normally. Not if you go through the window. That's how you say it. So yeah, the voice acting is pretty horrendous. Ranging from bored to I don't know what I'm doing, please help me. But that and the editing doesn't compare to the last and worst of all the aspects. And that is the ending. And yes, it is really, really bad. Mrs. Mavilda gets struck by lightning by Santa. Santa returns Lily to her family, even though we don't know how she survived. Santa leaves, the townspeople are happy. Mrs. Mavilda comes out without a damn scratch on her, despite you know what. She's forgiven for her actions, and instead of, I don't know, sending her to jail for child cruelty, money embezzlement, and attempted murder with a chainsaw, she gets to be the assistant to Judy at the orphanage. And then we get the moral of the story.
You always win when you are good. Merry Christmas, everybody.
You always win when you are good? Not only is that one of the most bizarre messages in any animation I've ever heard, but it is one of the most black and white messages I've ever heard. You always win when you are good. Like, that's like saying, oh yeah, everything you do that's bad, yeah, you know, you'll lose. You're a loser. Every single thing you do is bad. But if you're a good person, then yeah, like you always will win. Like, yeah, that mean that yeah, right. Every good person in the entire world, they all win. Every good person wins, but not a bad person. No, you always lose. So please be a good person. And if you want to win, be a good person. Again, did I mention how the special likes to treat you like kindergartners? Ugh. So yeah, it is really, really bad. But, and this is a big gigantic but here, that's what she said, is there actually any good things in this special? Well, I'm gonna probably surprise a lot of you, but yeah, there are, but not like good, not great, but just okay at best. Okay, so what are those okay things? Well, the first thing I do think is okay is the music. Yeah, I'm not kidding, the music is actually not really that bad. I mean, yeah, it can be sappy sometimes, and it isn't the best music I've ever heard in my life, but it has some nice moments here and there. Like, the opening theme, for instance, isn't really like the worst thing ever. I mean, I'm sure the composer didn't really have much to work with, and so he just did the best he could, and it sounds fine, I guess. The second thing I think is okay is there are a few voice actors who do an okay job. And the best one is the woman who did Mrs. Mavilda. I mean, it does sound like she's having a lot of fun with this role. Sure, the animation, the writing, and the editing really doesn't help her out in some cases, but she actually does do an okay job with what she's given, and to be fair, she does make this character really hateable, even if she is really pathetic. And there are a couple of the kids that don't really do bad jobs, like the girl in the pigtails and glasses. And look, I know that she's probably got a name, and it even shows up somewhere in the credits, like in the opening and in the ending, but another problem with the special is that I can't really tell which character's name are. I mean, like, I know Ray, I know Judy, I know Pappy, I know Lily, I know Mrs. Mavilda, I know the mayor, but the other kids, I don't know what their names are, despite the credits having names like Louie and Bob, but I don't know which one's which. So I'm just gonna call the two best kids ever in this entire special girl with pigtails and glasses and the boy with the green cap. So the girl with the pigtails and the glasses, she does okay. Not the best, but not the worst. But the best kid out of all of them is the boy in the green cap. And I'll tell you why. Not only do I think that he's probably the only kid that really gave a damn, but he really does sell most of his lines pretty well.
People go out and buy their Christmas tree.
Christmas tree? What's that?
Santa lets every good boy and girl make a wish for Christmas.
Really? Mrs. Mavilda never told us that. Mrs. Kindle's really in trouble. I'm asking Santa to save Mrs. Hopewell. Santa's not gonna hear you. Nobody's gonna hear you. Miracles don't happen.
And in my opinion, he gives us the only genuinely funny moment in this special. Now, this is when the kids have decided that, okay, Pappy needs to go to the North Pole to get help from Santa, but Mrs. Mavilda is coming back any moment to check on the kids. So they get the window open and tell Pappy to go, but Pappy once again questions, why does he have to go? So the kid in the green cap says this.
Why me?
Why? No time for questions.
Yeah, it's like, no, just go, get out the window. No time for questions. The plot demands it, just leave. So yeah, that really is the only genuinely funny moment in this entire special. And the last good thing I'll say, okay thing, but still, the last meh thing is, the idea of the story really isn't the worst. I mean, if it just had better animation, better writing, better voice actors, better direction, and a few tweaks in the story, it could have actually been a decent special. I mean, if that was the case, people would have looked at this and said, okay, that was okay. Not the best, but not the worst either. I mean, I would have accepted the special for being like a 6 or a 7 out of 10, if all that was in place. But because this special has a terrible story, terrible writing, terrible direction, terrible editing, terrible voice acting, terrible animation, and a terrible ending and moral, I can see why many claim that this is the worst holiday special ever. Now, is it really the worst of the worst? Well, surprisingly, no. I mean, I was originally going to give this a 1 out of 10, but after looking over it again, and after I just pointed out the few okay things in it, I can't really say it's the worst of the worst, and I can't say I can give it a 1 out of 10. So the score for this special, instead of being a 1 out of 10, it'll be a 1.5 out of 10. Plus, it definitely was fun to laugh at, in a so bad it's good way. So I cannot say it is the absolute worst, but I can say it is one of the worst. So if you wanted to either get angry, laugh, or creeped out, then the Christmas tree is for you. And one final thing I will say is that, despite the special being really bad, please, for the love of God, do not, say that these people should go to hell for making this special, okay? I'm sure they probably had a tight budget, or maybe this was probably some nice, funded group project that people got some money in, got some animators, and were like, hey, we can do this really cool thing, and we can also bring in some kids, something that'll really, give them some fun. If that was the case, then, okay, that's fine. It doesn't change the fact that it's a terrible special, but please do not say terrible and insulting things to the writers and directors, the editors, the voice actors, and everyone else, because I'm sure they've all grown up and moved on with their lives, and probably remember this special either fondly or they probably look back on it with some regrets. But hey, we don't know that. So please be respectful when talking about the people that worked on this, because they probably were nice people. So I don't wish any ill will against them, and I'm not gonna say that they should go to hell. That would be a step too far. So there you go, guys. That's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all you filthy animals. And as always, my name is Sam, and mwah, good night, everybody.